Good morning, guys. I'm really excited to be making this video because I've just recently reached 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I thought now is a good time to make a video on how I film sort of my Wiltshire veggie videos. Definitely not a masterclass, much more of a sort of beginner guide, but I think I've got a few tips and tricks on how I do it and how someone wanting to maybe make YouTube videos could get themselves set up. And yeah, let's get into it. So the first thing you're going to really want to do, and it sounds really obvious, is find your niche. Find the topic that you're passionate about, because if you're passionate about the YouTube videos you're making the YouTube videos isn't going to feel like work. And believe me, making videos does take a little bit of time. So it's something you need to have a think about. But in my case here, Wiltshire Veggies, it's obviously about growing vegetables here in Wiltshire, in my back garden and now my allotment. And I think because it's something I'm quite passionate about, it's something I really enjoy doing. It's something that doesn't feel too much like work or anything when I'm making these videos. So do bear that in mind. And once you've found your niche, you then need to start thinking about content. Now, content is an interesting one because you're kind of balancing two things. One is content that makes a good video and is going to do well in terms of the YouTube algorithm, getting you lots of views, watch time. The second thing you never need to lose sight of is you need to make videos that you would enjoy. You're as close to a consumer as anyone else in the YouTube sort of business, and therefore you need to make videos that you think you would like to watch, and that's really important. And I think more often, if you do that, the videos naturally perform better. So have a think of content. And again, depending on your niche, in terms of gardening and things, I try to do lots of like how-to videos for beginners and things. But I also like to do videos where I sort of blog and I sort of talk about the garden, what's sort of happening at the time of year. And it's just sort of interesting things. And then obviously you go from there, and over time you see what sort of content works in terms of the algorithm, and you can sort of develop it from there. But yeah, that's content. Now, let's talk a little bit about how to start filming. So, in terms of actually making videos, the biggest piece of advice I ever received, and it really has stuck with me, is don't wait. Just get on, start filming, start making videos. The reason for that is you learn a lot from the videos when you make them. You can do as much research as you like. There's plenty out there, videos on YouTube, just on Google and things, how to make YouTube videos. There's loads of information, basically trying to second guess the algorithm, what's going to work, what's not going to work. And really, you won't improve, you won't get any better as a content creator just by watching those. You really need to learn from your own mistakes, sort of watch and sort of critically assess your own videos. So really it's a case of getting out there and getting on with it. Now, I'm going to let you in on a secret here. All of my videos are filmed just with my smartphone, a Google Pixel 6 Pro, and I do all my editing on there. I create the thumbnails on there and obviously film on there. Now, I'm going to talk about two pieces of equipment you will probably want before you start making videos, and it's definitely two pieces of equipment that I use. One is a tripod, and I'll put up on the screen the sort of Amazon link to that product, but it's a extendable tripod you can adjust the height of. You can adjust the sort of stand, so you can stand it quite sensibly on either ground, and you can also adjust things like the angle and the sort of levelness of the camera that's holding it. Second thing you're going to need is a sort of microphone. I obviously prefer to go like a wireless microphone because I'm in a garden or an allotment. I don't want to have wires trailing around. But again, really cheap, really affordable, and something you can pick up on Amazon. Again, I'll pop the link up here. And all you really need to bear in mind with that when you're selecting them is, one, I think robustness. Unfortunately, the mics I go for are quite cheap, and I've gone through quite a lot of them. I think in the sort of year and a half I've been filming, I've probably gone through maybe 3 microphones where I've just either sat on them or they've fallen out of my pocket and got trampled on, and they just break. So partly it's my fault, but you also just need to be a little bit careful with them. And if you spend a little bit more money, you can get something a bit more reliable and a bit better, sort of higher quality. So once you've selected your niche, you've chosen what content you're going to film, and you've got the equipment, you're going to want to start filming. Now, when you're filming videos, there is lots to think about, and it's one of those things I probably would suggest doing a bit of research on is things like camera angles and how to get the best shots of things. And there is definitely an art to it. It's one of those things where if you maybe did something like media studies at school or something like that, you might already have a bit of knowledge on. But what I would say is there are a few like tips you can do. One thing is, while you're doing something like this in your video, going from like a long shot to then a close-up shot makes the video appear a bit more interesting, and I think makes it a bit more interesting for the viewer watching. So you can do things like that, like I've just shown you. And the other thing as well, really common, easy trick is like a jump zoom. So if someone's talking, almost monologuing, you can then sort of change the camera angle by like a jump zoom where it zooms in a bit more, and then they do a bit more talking, and then suddenly it zooms out again. And again, it just helps make the video a little bit less static and a little bit more dynamic, which overall makes it more interesting for the viewers watching. So once you've filmed your video, you're then going to need to edit it. Now, like I said at the beginning of this video, I do everything on my phone. So the app I use is called Inshot. And the great thing with Inshot is there are loads of YouTube tutorials on how to use it. And I'll put in the comments section or in the description a few links to some of the videos that I've used that taught me how to use Inshot and made editing a bit easier. But basically, it looks like what I'm sort of putting on the screen now. You sort of are able to attach your different segments of videos, edit them together, crop them, speed them up, slow them down, add sound, whatever. But, you know, again, this is one of those things where the best piece of advice I can give you is to crack on and make some videos, because that editing process is where you get the most sort of learning out of it. What looks good? Okay, how could I have done that shot better next time around? The only little side thing I would just note on is obviously if you're making videos on YouTube, you need a good thumbnail. Now, for thumbnails, I use an app called Phonto. Phonto basically just allows you to put text over an image. But a little tip with thumbnails is whenever you take a thumbnail, edit the picture, increase the brightness, maybe change the contrast, make that picture as higher quality and as attractive as possible. And then sort of use a sort of judicial use of color. Don't use loads of color and make almost like a rainbow. It'll be too much and it won't sort of quite look right. But use judicial bits of color to make the words that you're using or the titles you're using stand out. And again, I'll put up a few sort of examples of thumbnails I've made that I think are good. And yeah, obviously if you've got comments, let me know. But yeah, that's pretty much what you need to do to sort of get your first video ready. So finally, you're at the point where you can upload your first video. Now, uploading is nothing special. YouTube makes it really easy. And again, you can still do this off your phone. There's no need for a computer. But obviously, things like editing and changing sound and things will be much easier on a computer. But luckily, with things like Inshot as an application on the phone, it's dead easy. And then once you've uploaded it, a little sort of tip is you can download the YouTube Studio app. And again, I'll put up on the thing, it gives you sort of analytics, graphs and things like that, data on your viewers, basically what they're liking, what they're not liking, how long they're watching your videos for. It can be somewhat depressing, but a few sort of things to bear in mind. So average click-through rate is between like 3 and 5%. So this is a really interesting one. How many times when someone sees your thumbnail do they click on it? So typically I scroll past hundreds of thumbnails on my way to a video that I want to watch. So each one of them, I'm sort of downgrading their percentage of click-through rate. So an average good one is about 3 to 5%. The next one that you'll want to be interested in is average viewer duration. This is how long people watch your videos. If they all drop off after the first minute, video is not performing well. If they are hanging around and watching 80% of your video, that's amazing. I think most of the time, again, a good average viewer duration is about 30 odd percent, 33%, I think, about a third of the way through your video. So if you can keep the majority of people on your video for that amount of time, the YouTube algorithm is going to sort of smile on you and push out your video more and more. So yeah, that there is a real high level look at sort of YouTube algorithm. Obviously, subscribers do matter. Things like watch time matter, and it's all about your journey to sort of increase your audience and reach as many people as possible. So there you have it, guys. And I've done a quick sort of harvest while I've been making this video. Carrots, peas, beans, lettuce, one rather strange looking tomato. hopefully nice and edible though. But overall, I'd say in terms of making YouTube content, it's not particularly hard and it's pretty accessible. It's not costing a lot of money to set yourself up and do this. However, the best bit of advice I can give you is to just have a go, get on with it, because you will learn sort of iteratively as you go through the process. So yeah, hope you like this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you all soon for more videos.